Now, the rest of the story.
Well, Rolina and I'm checking on my second cut. Leave it alone, hon. My second cut, Reed Canary, is what this is the stuff that was off the bottom. Not the Valley Farm as a whole, but the bottom ground itself. And averaged, well, a barn full and a little bit more, because I actually had to go to another farm and put in the last load. But this stuff is worth putting inside. I really believe so. It smells, for those of you that are farmers that mow hay, and it's not just mowing hay, you know, in the old barns, but this smells like freshly mowed square bales. And, you know, throwing back memories to darker times, I guess. But this used to be a little bit of an everything barn that we're standing in. Hay shed slash cattle shed, which Grandpa put the lean-to on it, which it's needing some TLC. We used to have cows in the lean, everything from weaning the feeder calves off here in the spring and, you know, moving them to the other farm. But it's currently where we actually load our cows out when we're moving them off this farm. But the tin got a couple holes in it from the wind damage from Ryan and I repairing it. But overall, if I can do this with short round, I can't find the face of any of them. Come here. Woo! Woo! But they all have their color all the way through. It's nice. I'm gonna get burned one of these years, but we've really actually been able to get the stuff down at the Valley made without any rain on it. And I don't know if you want to say it's because we're back to normal weather-wise, or normal trend, or if we're dry or leaning on the drier side. We had those 4 to 6 years approximately where we were having excess rain, and it made it almost impossible to get hay made. So then having something that we could do that would have been a big help back then. But also what Ryan said with having the wrapper, it actually frees up some of the shed space for more hay. I didn't want to do this, to be honest with you. The intentions were, which every year is different, my intentions really were to go through, sell off a bunch of first crop, and then sell off first crop, open up my hay storage down at the valley, save myself the hassle of going through and having to move anything up here or to the home farm, and then just move the hay earlier in the summer. Well, the problem with that logic is we've had enough rain and the weather to keep the pastures growing, that even the ground, like down at my place, by this time last year the cows had it pretty well cleaned up, and this year they still got plenty of feed out there yet. So this is, woohoo! Yeah, this is actually some of the waterway feed that I'm feeding out. It just ended up here because I had one more load to go get, and I just didn't want to have to go clear back up to the home farm where this stuff is going to be fed out at. And I just dropped it off here quick and went and got the last load, because we ended up getting, I think, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rain yesterday. So I was just glad to get everything moved and off the fields before we got a bunch of rain. The other issue we're having right now is our cattle herd, or a lot of people's cow herds. People have been liquidating them, not necessarily because they want to or they have to, but prices are good. And a lot of these smaller producers aren't going through the headache, I'm going to go ahead and say the headache, or the work, the hassle of raising a 15, 20 head plus 50 head herd of cows if they got to buy expensive feed, especially when they can just spin around and get a nice payout. which is, from the sounds of it, it's what's happening. Is I've actually called out in Iowa to see about what their market was doing out there, and they told me the exact same thing I'm hearing locally, is if they weren't shipping or didn't have much demand for some of their hay, their material going out west, stay here, they wouldn't be moving as much as they are. Locally, it's just there isn't a whole lot of demand for hay, but seasonally, that really is to be expected. It's still 1st of August. Grass is still growing. We're getting moisture, and ideally, it's just shifting back my mindset to hold on to the stuff, worry about keeping my concerns about keeping the quality of my material as high as I can. So that way, when it does come time where I'm starting to move it, you know, in mass, November, December, there's a demand for it, because then you're not just, when you go to take it to auctions, you're not just trying to convince one person to buy it. You're trying to convince multiple people that it's worth buying, so they bid it up and they make it worth more. So, well, somebody's heading back to the house, so I better get back after her. So that's what we've been doing. I didn't do a video on hauling the hay in, largely just because 120 acres from the time we cut it, ted it, rake it, bug, let it laid for a day. Took 2 days to get it baled, and it took 2 days to get it hauled and moved. So it takes about a week just to do the valley alone. That doesn't account for any of our other ground, the alfalfa of my brothers and the extra pasture that we do for a one cutting off of for first cut and back in June. And really, we've been pretty well bogged down with making hay for June, July. Now it's August, and we got a bunch of those random jobs where we really gotta get after before we have to spin back around and make the last of our hay for the year. So weather conditions been good. It's been hot and humid, but I'll take the rain. I'm not going to turn away any rain right now. I'll do a crop update video for you guys. My agronomist says that last 1.5 inches or so that we got really carried us a long ways. We got another chance, like a 1/2 inch or so for this weekend. And largely what he's saying, at least for us in southwest Wisconsin, when we talk about August rains, the rain that we just got and have been getting is what we talk about, because it charged up the soil well enough right now that it's going to give the plants the moisture that they'd be looking for to not abort any or as many flowers, pods, and hopefully we're looking at above average soybean yields. The corn yields, woof. I don't like doing yield checks. I just grabbed a couple random ears out of a couple of our fields, and once again, going back to what my agronomist is saying, is the moisture that we're getting is not generating more yield. It is protecting the yield that is there. And the yield that is there is looking quite awesome. They're saying bumper crop for this little sliver of southwest Wisconsin. I know it's a big world, because I've also had somebody that, not directly from this area as far as I know, but he said he's from southwest Wisconsin, which that can encompass a pretty wide area. And he was saying that they were actually dry to where their crops look rough. Not a failure, but they look rough. And I've been hearing 15 miles to the east of us, they were missing the rain. This 1.5 inches that we got, you go south of us, probably 15, 20 miles, they only got a few tenths, and a few well-timed tenths of an inch will still produce pretty awesome yields. I mean, I would actually rather have more showers, smaller showers, like up to 1/2 inch, and as opposed to getting fewer larger rain amounts, rain events, because 1.5 inches of rain, it washed my driveway out. And not as bad as it did when we got that 4.5 inches, but it moved a little bit of gravel. And hopefully here, somebody's going to try walking on the gravel with their shoes off. That should end well. We got a lot to look forward to for harvest, to be completely honest. So hopefully I get a chance here. In the next few days or upcoming videos here, I'll try to give you a crop update video. But I don't do yield checks and call them super accurate, but just finding the ears that we're finding out there consistently, and not going and picking 3 ears out of the same field spread out over multiple rows, many rows, and they're consistent on a flex hybrid, which a flex hybrid means the ear will flex according to the available nutrients, and finding some pretty good sized ears that are pollinated out to the tip, that are well rounded. So I'm gonna go. She's trying to pick up gravel with her toes. So good news is it's bath night. So she wanted to go for a ride and check cattle, so we went for a ride and check cattle. But thanks for everybody tuning in. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It does support the channel. The channel's got some life back into it. My goal is, I'm really just trying to post Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. So not posting as often on Mondays and Fridays, but I generally try to post the obscure, the random videos, the little videos, hopefully, on a Monday or a Friday, where, you know, the longer videos are on the other 5 days of the week. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this when we get to making the last of our hay, we get into harvest, because even when I was making this hay here, my videos are kind of backlogged. That's why I'm doing the dates up here in the corner, so you guys can watch the dates, as opposed to just assuming that every video is accurate, right up to date, because I can't do that. I can't keep up with that. My desktop, I can have that uploading videos for 5 days straight, just to try to keep up somewhat with where we really should be. So once again, if you like the videos, you like the channel, you like to keep getting the updates and what is going on in Southwest Wisconsin, by all means, subscribe and tune in every once in a while if that's all it takes, but it helps. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.